as it exists, they spoke one of the most dramatic ways. This structure could grow close 10, 10 centimeters, I think. Yeah, close to 10 centimeters. That's pretty huge.
That's right, Akhil. Something for the kids who might be, looking at this live stream. So, rockets don't just fly, they keep falling around Earth. It might be difficult to imagine this, but people often imagine astronauts escaping Earth's gravity. The truth is, gravity never lets go. Even the International Space Station is constantly falling towards the Earth, but it's moving sideways at so high speed that it keeps missing the ground. And that's what we call as orbit.
From a very close distance. He's part of our family as well, and he's here to cheer us on. So we thank him for his presence. One more interesting fact for our viewers that rockets get lighter every second. Unlike an airplane, a rocket becomes lighter every second because it continuously burns and throws away propellant. Because in aircrafts we have air breathing engines, so the oxidizer itself is the air that the turbofan sucks in. But when you have a rocket, you cannot have yeah. So when we are dealing with rockets, there is no air outside air can enter and can be utilized for propulsion. So we have to carry our own bottles of oxidizers and fuel. And once the rocket is ignited and it's on its way through the entire
On the launch pad. Consider our Vikram 1, it weighs around 45,000 kgs on the launch pad, but nearly 90% of that weight is just propellant.
that's really amazing. That structural mass is so less. I mean, the views on your screen are from the launch gallery at Sriharikota, and we have thousands of students who've joined us from all over the nation, and they're eagerly waiting the launch of India's first privately built orbital launch vehicle, Vikram 1. And of course, like I mentioned earlier, it's a test flight, and we'll be doing a few of these before we move into routine commercial operations. We are in a state of hold for now. For the viewers who just joined us, we have successfully initiated the automatic launch sequence at T minus 11 minutes, and a lot of the key events that went into this have been executed. We have a hold right now at T minus 5 minutes, and just to recap, we've had the switch over to internal power, wherein the vehicle is now powering itself. All of the null checks on our actuators have been completed. So essentially, the vehicle's steering systems are in great, and we're at a planned hold. One quick look at the rocket as well, standing on the launch pad. All right, we're getting updates from the mission control teams. The hold that you observe on your screens was due to a hold raised by the navigation team. Vehicle director to launch control. Yeah. Please do the needful pre-exercises to reinitiate ALS.
and confirm your readiness.
And we've gotten confirmation that we will be starting ALS shortly. So please stay tuned. So we had a planned hold, and we've just heard um, from the mission teams below that we are ready to restart the automatic launch sequence shortly. And just to recap once again, Vikram 1 is on the launch pad. It's ready and eagerly awaiting its first test flight. We've had the initiation of the automatic launch sequence, and through that, we've completed the internal power switchover, which means the vehicle is now powering itself using its own batteries. We've also had the null checks been completed, and we're now waiting for the next window to come about for the ALS to restart.
So now that we know that the ALS is on hold and soon we'll be back with a new time and the restart of ALS, let's talk about the entire journey of Vikram 1, the mission sequence. Now we know that first 100 seconds of the flight, the stage 1 will power the rocket to the denser layers of the atmosphere, and exactly at an altitude of 53 kilometers at 103 seconds, the stage 1 burnout will happen and stage separation will initiate. And after that, the stage 2 will ignite and it will power the rocket through the thinner layers of the atmosphere while keeping the same level of acceleration. That is the point. And later on in the stage 2, during the stage 2 burn duration, later half, you have the payload fairing and it separates. And this is the first time when the payload or the satellite is exposed to the atmosphere or to the space, the higher layers of atmosphere, which is exactly nearly close to space. Having protected the satellite throughout the ascent, that the fairing's job is done.
Yeah, that's right, Akhil. And you mentioned that the PLF, or the payload fairing, is the portion that essentially protects the satellite from the difficulties of the environment that the rocket goes through. The question then becomes, how do we separate all our stages, right? So we use something which is very unique, and we're very proud of that. In-house to Skyroot, we have the separation teams which have developed a pneumatic ultra-low shock mechanism. And the whole goal of this mechanism is it relays very little shock to the payload itself. So the payloads usually carry very sensitive electronics and instruments. So if you have a shock event come about, it may damage some of the sensitive instruments. So that's why we specifically made it a point to develop this pneumatic ultra-low shock separation mechanism.
Like, for the knowledge of our viewers, I would also like to reiterate, most typical rockets, they use pyrocords, which use explosive charge to shear out the bolts and separate or jettison the entire stage, which could be catastrophic for some sensitive payloads. That is very costly and could be like, you might lose some data on the satellite and affect its workability.
Control your bird.
Definitely.
Still external hold mode is coming.
Right, noted. Now, even after the payload fairing has separated, the job isn't done yet, right? The climb is still going on. Stage 3 steps in and it generates quite a large amount of thrust to essentially power the vehicle into orbit. It keeps pushing it to near orbital velocities. And then comes something different, like we talked about earlier. We have the orbital adjustment module that kicks in. And this is the stage that I got to work on very closely. Like I mentioned earlier, it was a team of very ingenious, multidisciplinary members. We had teams from systems, propulsion, dynamics, quality, safety, reliability, CFD, design. I mean, you cannot count these fields on the fingers of your hand, and they all had to work in unison to build this stage. And then once it starts working, it will precisely place all of these satellites into its intended orbit. And you might feel like all of this is happening. There's so many things happening, right? but it's just 16 minutes. That's all it takes.
It's so
T minus 20
fast, but it seems really long. Like it took us like 1 hour from the entire bus stand to reach Sriharikota. But as Suyash you pointed out, so it's such a, we can say the entire rocket engineering, the complexity. Looking at the complexity, but it's like an entire opera house. You have to be like a soprano. You have to be so perfect. Every system, every individual, and every component should be in tune to engage all the systems at the right moment so that we can have even a small ignition. And now we have Avikram 1, which has close to 1,000 subsystems, and almost two-thirds of it will be utilized just even at liftoff. That's really fascinating.
So we've gotten confirmation, and you might see it on your screen shortly as well. The countdown has restarted. We are resetting to T minus 20 minutes, and we are at T minus 19 minutes for the information of all our viewers.
Other ground stations about the new T0. Please
To
confirm.
control timing in Excel hold mode.
CNC copied, new PGM files shared.
Roger.
To control timing in Excel hold mode.
Roger.
Route LCC to all. S2 and S3 HMS is event number 97 completed.
Roger. Control to LCC, MCC and RSO. Please note timing confirmed, external hold mode.
Route LCC to all station. New T0 is 12:05 30 seconds.
All right, we're hearing from the mission control that the new T0 time or the liftoff time for
T minus 18
mission
minutes.
Agman is reset to 12:05 p.m. So stay tuned. We'll be with you, and we'll give you some more space trivia. We have a lot of those, and we'll also take you through the journey of the rocket as well. Many of the times, one of the question that comes is why space? It's so hard. Getting to space is hard enough. Getting to space on the first try is even
All
harder.
stations to note.
So if it's so
Mission director
hard,
authorized the launch
why do
of
it at all?
Vikram 1 mission Agman.
What does it hold of such huge importance that we want to strive for making to the stars?
I mean, if you think about it, all the activities that happen on Earth, they are connected in some or the other way to space. Space has quietly become a part of our daily life. Every weather forecast, every map that guides us home, every digital payment and long distance call leans on us. It all leans on a satellite somewhere overhead.
And I mean, it's like the human curiosity that takes you really farther. And like humans, we actually like complex things, and we just like it's not just enough to stay on one planet. And so that's why the man decided to take a decision to set off to some higher horizons. And it is still, after 80, 90 years, the complexity still remains so high in space travel.
Yeah, and one question that comes about is how do you make all of that happen?
The new launch INC
So-
is 12:05 30 seconds.
Right, we've just gotten call out and confirmation that the new T0 is 12:05 p.m. Just as a reiteration to all our viewers.
Roger.
So we were talking about what it takes to make all of these happen, and of course, we would like to thank ISRO for all their support, from opening the doors to the Satish Dhawan Space Center, the historic first launch pad, issuing us guidance and helping us with all the nitty-gritty details. They've worked with us day and night on this. They've treated this vehicle as though it were their own, and they're so committed to making sure that mission Agman reaches its intended orbit. that they've essentially become a part and parcel of the Skyroot family.
They treat the vehicle as their own, as you correctly said, Suyash. Like they have been involved with us throughout the entire campaign,
Vehicle directed to Skyroot
helped us,
Launch Control.
and along
You
with
can
ISRO, we would also like
initiate
to
automated launch
take a
sequence at
pause to
T-minus
thank
11 minutes.
InSpace, and they have acted as a bridge between the government organization, facilitating all the review meetings, everything, and allowing us access to SHAR, all the policies, all the reforms. So, thank you InSpace for all the efforts, and thank you for rooting for Skyroot.
Yeah, one interesting thing, and this is a personal experience as well. We did Mission Prarambh in November 2022, and believe it or not, the headquarters of InSpace were inaugurated in June 2022.
Just 6 months from our
Yeah.
last
Minus
one.
14 minutes are
You
left.
might have to imagine that it's just 6 months, and they've had to imagine and they have to write and draft all the policies that are required. They have to make sure that they know
T-minus 14 minutes.
how the mission is going to be, regulated. What do we need to do? Essentially, handhold the space sector, the private space sector.
It was very seamless, indeed, very seamless. The way they took all of it.
Yeah, very true. It definitely is not an easy job, and they've excelled at it. Same goes with ISRO. We've had, where they've been chasing after us.
Yeah. I remember those days.
Yeah, and it's quite, empowering to know that the government is playing such a huge role in helping make this happen. We talk about Atmanirbhar Bharat, we talk about Viksit Bharat 2047, and all of these technologies, what the private sector is trying to build today, is essentially contributing to that goal. If we want to be the world leaders, we need to start now.
Exactly, Suyash. Like I was fortunate enough to visit the LPSC test facility when I was with the Raman 1 test campaign. It was a very great experience. I mean, and the coordination with ISRO teams and the way they facilitated the entire test campaign and the data analysis, and post test the data came like really fast, and like they were after us and they were very patient with us. So yeah, that was a really great experience for the young engineer like me.
Yeah, and that sort of reminds me to the stage test that we did just a couple of months ago. I think nearly 9 months ago.
Yeah, around I think October.
Yeah, October, I think. And so that was the test of the orbital adjustment module. It was a all-inclusive test. We had the entire stage. We had all the engines, the thrusters. We had the avionics. We had something quite interesting,
T-minus 12
melodic
minutes.
as well. We played Sare Jahan Se Acha using the Raman Mini thrusters on the stage, which was something very unique, very captivating to the young minds. Many people did not think that you could play music out of the screeching sounds of 50 Newton Raman Mini thrusters.
Again, an opera, I told you, right?
Yeah, definitely.
T-minus 11 minutes.
Automated launch sequence initiated.
Roger.
All right, we're at T minus 11 minutes again, T minus 30, 10:30, sorry. And the automatic launch sequence has begun. We're in the pre-checks phase at the moment, where all the teams are essentially checking the health of the vehicle once again, making sure that all systems are operational and go for launch.
Before that, we had one confirmation that all the ground stations supporting today's mission, they have completed their readiness checks. As the vehicle travels downrange, telemetry will seamlessly transition between multiple ground stations, from Shah to Port Blair, then Bogor in Indonesia, and then finally Yatharaga in Australia. This network ensures continuous communication with the launch vehicle, with all mission data relayed back to mission control in real time.
That's right. And just to recap to all our viewers, some of the callouts that have happened till now. We first had the acquisition of day of launch winds, which is we acquire using a Doppler weather radar the winds prevalent. And as Akhil mentioned earlier, it's slightly a cloudy day today for launch, but come rain or sunshine, we're always ready to launch.
Rain can't stop us, I think.
Yeah. And the next thing that we managed to do is, of course, the guidance teams have completed the static navigation profile as well as the gyro compassing of the lens package. So this is kind of the sensor which tells the attitude of the vehicle. Essentially, it tells you how you're oriented with respect to Earth. And it's something very important that the vehicle has to do, needs to know where north is and where the direction of gravity is. Post that, like Vede, he just confirmed, we've had all the ground stations. We have 4 ground stations supporting us today. Shar, which is where we are coming to you live from, and then we have Port Blair, following which we have Bogor in Indonesia, and finally the Yatharga ground station in Australia. So all of these ground stations essentially capture telemetry, which is the data from the vehicle, and relay it instantaneously to us.
Yeah, Suyash, you were mentioning about how we also see the wind profiles. The wind profiles are also checked. Just a while back, they were checked, and as I can see on the MCC, this wind profile or this data of the winds is also going to be uploaded into the mission computer in the sequence that is coming up, and also, one of the key milestones which have been completed is the transition from external ground power to the rocket's onboard batteries. The vehicle has relied on ground support systems till now, but from this point forward, every stage must successfully power itself. So, engineers, I believe, are watching the battery performances and electric health right now to ensure that the transition is smooth and every system is remaining stable as of now.
And for this ALS sequence also, we have completed all the null checks for all the stage nozzles, and the FNCs are working as fine as possible. And we are also happy that Dr. Jitendra Singh, Honorable Minister of Space, is joining us live on video call, and he's rooting for Team Skyroot.
We're at T-6 minutes and counting. For the viewers who've just joined us recently, on your screens right now is the Skyroot Launch Control Center situated at Shar. We have many engineers looking at the vitals of the vehicle. This includes different teams, starting from avionics, guidance, navigation, control, liquid propulsion, solid propulsion, safety, reliability, quality, and of course our IT teams as well.